Welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most listener. I'm telling you, this is heating up like a Hollywood movie. Listen to me, man. Listen to me good. The judge in the Klansman One Don gang trial just now threw out about 8 years worth of information. You hear me? All because one officer decided to keep everything to himself until the last minute. You might be wondering how this happened. Stick around and listen. Alright, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. Hit that subscribe button and let's get right into this one. Shout out to the Jamaica Gleaner. Justice Chief Brian Sykes was stunned on Monday by a claim from a police witness that one of the alleged Klansman Wandan gangsters had been supplying him with intelligence since 2014, but that he had never shared that gold mine of information with the lead investigator. Now, you must understand that you can't just pop up in court and say, yes, this man been giving me information for the last 8 years, me know enough stuff. You have to give this information to the lead investigator so they can work it in. Because how it goes in court is, if you have stuff that can criminalize or make the people who are being prosecuted then guilty, then you have to give that information up ahead of time, right? You can't have your case planned with all your evidence on the right side and then you just have this whole wealth of stuff, 8 years worth of stuff you decide to just throw out in the middle of the trial. It's not gonna work. In fact, a prosecutor told the Chief Justice that it was during an interview Monday morning with the police corporal that he was told that defendant Owen Ormsby was a police informant. Another member of the gang is now fingered, no pun intended, as a police informant. I'll stop right here to say this. This why I not live no gang life and no street life and all that, because nobody is loyal. The street is not loyal to anybody. Enough of them tough face mania who you see talking about gangster this and bad man that. Them are all snitches and backstabbers and friend killers. None of them are not loyal at all. See, what this corporal just said was that defendant Owen Ormsby, otherwise known as Mikey, who is one of the members of the gang, has also been giving him information for the past 8 years on his own gang members. A snitch. He would pass on information about the members, incidents, and their background information on the gang. The prosecutor relayed that while conceding that the officer had omitted that detail from his witness statement, why would the officer leave that detail out of his witness statement? So the prosecutor said that he was also told by the police witness that the investigator never asked him about the gang, so therefore him never mentioned. The prosecutor said he was also told by the police witness that the investigator never asked him about the gang. But Justice Sykes now, the judge who is presiding over this case, who described the information as quite surprising, ruled that he could not allow the evidence as there was no reasonable justification why the officer had not brought the intelligence to the investigator's attention or even noted it in his statements. The judge said, I am hard pressed to justify the reception of this evidence. Unfortunately, we can't have this evidence at all. However, before the judge made his decision, the witness who took the stand for a short while was asked to explain the foul up, how this happened. The police corporal, yes, and it was a police corporal. The police corporal, who was a member of a special operations squad, explained that he had told his leader about Ormsby and what he had shared. So Corporal said him tell him leader, squad leader, team leader, whatever leader. He told his leaders that, yo, me have a snitch within the gang. I have an informant in the gang, one of the gang members, and he's been giving me a whole lot of inside information for quite some time now. He also told the court that even though he was the one who arrested Ormsby, he was not aware. Listen to this part. He was not aware that he was the person that he was going to apprehend until he actually saw him. So he got information that, because Ormsby is now, Mikey is now arrested and on trial along with the other rest of the gang. See? And he, the officer who Ormsby had been snitching to all this time, is the same officer that came and arrested him. So I'm sure Ormsby was confused, like, yo, look how long me I give you information, boss. You can't give me a break or nothing. You just come arrest me, so. But guess what? When he got information, when he, the police officer, got information that, hey, there's a guy over here you need to go pick up, arrest him, so and so. He said he still didn't know that that's who he was going to arrest until he actually got there and saw the person. But the police witness further admitted that after the arrest, he did not think to notify the investigator, and he only gave him an apprehension statement. So even after he arrested the man, he did not think to notify the person who was investigating, the lead investigator in that case, that, hey, this guy that you just tell me to arrest, or this guy that I just arrested, is the guy I've been telling you about, or been telling my seniors about, my boss about, my leader, my team leader about, that he's been giving me information for the longest. So maybe we can use him as a witness in the case as well. Remember, witness number 1 and witness number 2 are also ex-members, confessed ex-members of the gang as well. One of them confessed to being the banker of the gang and also the right-hand man and the driver for the alleged leader of the gang, which is Andre Blackman Bryan. Right? So this witness right here, or this person, this mole then, who was giving him information for all those years, he could have very well been used as well. But dog, I'm the youths up and now, because Mikey can't be used as no witness, and everybody know now so Mikey is a snitch. And Mikey is now housed with the gang. So boy, the mafia go separate him from the rest of the gang really quickly in lockup, because I'll be a beating and them all kill him round there. Right? Think about it. Okay. The police witness further admitted that even after the arrest, he did not think to notify the investigator and only gave him an apprehension statement. Now, so all this time, this is the judge, The judge said, so all this time, Corporal, it did not occur to you to tell Mr. So-and-so that this young man has been a gold mine of information? This is what the judge asked him. The corporal said, the case was moving, just moving so fast, Your Honor. Yes. But notwithstanding the speed, hear the judge now. Yes, but notwithstanding the speed, it did occur to you to say, Mr. So-and-so, I know this man since 2014, and if you want information, blah, blah, blah. Did you even tell Mr. So-and-so that this is what I have learnt? The judge asked him again. The police witness, who is the corporal now, in reply said that although he told his team leader that he did not check to ensure that the information was passed on to the investigator. So all he did was he thought he was doing his part by telling his... Now, when I listen to this, all he did was tell the judge that all I did was my part, judge. I'm getting the information and I'm passing the information on to my leader, my team leader. I did not check to see if the team leader had done his job to pass the information on to the investigator. Right now, if you're thinking like I'm thinking, you're probably thinking, watch that team leader there. That team leader there might be, you know what I say, working on some other side. Anyhow, moreover, he said that he kept it in the dark about what was happening in the investigation and had got information via rumors. In other words, he told the judge, this is the corporal telling the judge that, furthermore, they kept me in the dark while they were doing the investigation. They weren't giving me information pertaining to the investigation, so I didn't feel the need to follow up and share more and all this other stuff, right? All I was finding out information through rumors that were circulating around the workplace, not directly from them. Not from my team leader, not from the investigator. They kept me in the dark. The judge then asked when it was dawned upon him that the man was charged. He replied to the judge and said, late 2020 is when I found out that he was charged. The same man that he arrested. Now, even at that time, the judge asked him, the judge said, okay, so even at that time, you didn't go to Mr. So-and-so, which is the investigator, and tell him that you have additional information? This is what the judge asked him, and the corporal witness said no. The judge now, after grilling the police corporal, remarked that as a reasonable man, he found it difficult to understand how the police did not realize the value of the information that he claimed that he had. Now, Justice Sykes' decision was, however, preceded by objections from Ormsby's lawyer, Kimani Birdson, who argued that there was no information to support the officer's claim about his client being an informant. You see, that is what your lawyer is supposed to do. So Ormsby lawyer, of course, is going to object and get up in court and say, Judge, this corporal is lying. My client, Mr. Ormsby, did not share information with him since 2014 till 2020. He did not. He's not an informant. Save him, I try save the man life now. Because corporal just bust out that you've been informing to him for the longest on your own gang. Remember, Ormsby is locked up with the rest of the Klansman Wanda and gang that is on trial. So again, like I said before, they're going to have to separate Ormsby from them quickly, whether he wants to believe it or not. You know, Ormsby probably around there say, yo, I lie the police boy, I try get with a fight, internal strife, so we can start break apart and start tell upon each other. It's a strategy that I try use. Right now, I'm confused. Right now, the rest of the gang is confused as to is he really an informant or not. But I can also bet that right now they're not taking no check, because the two main informant on them that is sinking them right now was two of their good top tier members who have solid proof. Now that the tapes have been played or are being played in the courtroom from the recordings from those 3 cell phones, which was done by one of their top tier members. So when a police come forward in the middle of trial and say, well, him over there, so he might give me information for about 8 years now, everybody probably looking at him like, what? You too? Eh? And you still there sit down with me? I go kill your boy. Meanwhile, later in the proceedings, the court was shown photographs of the Wandan gang graffiti written on walls in Jones Avenue, Spanish Town, said to be the headquarters of the criminal organization. The words, one black man and one Don gang were observed in the photograph. So them did a tag up the place like L.A. Lewis, but no joke thing. The abbreviation PNP, People's National Party, was also observed in one of the photos that was scribbled multiple times alongside the one Don gang. This community is politically aligned to the PNP, the People's National Party. You know, somebody said to me, SouFlo, listen to me, it's politics are going on. All these big gangs are aligned with a political party, seeing? Especially clans, one other, one Don gang, all these things. This is what people been saying. I don't know. I'm not from these ends, so I don't know the run-ins, seeing? And I will play a fool to catch wise or something like that, or play dumb, period. But I've been told, before we even hear anything about the PNP graffiti, I've been told that these gangs are aligned with the political parties, and that the only reason you see this gang right now under such heavy prosecution, it is because it's a JLP that's in power, and that gang is a PNP powerhouse, right? So they want to wipe out their henchmen. Political move and strategies is what's taking place. Anyhow, it was PNP in power, the one Don gang would not be on trial right now. That's just what I've heard. Something for us to think about, right? Okay, the photos were all admitted into evidence. The photos of the graffiti with the one-man Don gang and the one black man and the PNP affiliation stuff. All that was taken into evidence. The reputed leader of the gang, Andre Blackman Bryan, and 32 alleged gang members are being tried on an indictment with 25 counts under the Criminal Justice Suppression of Criminal Organization Act and the Firearms Act. And the One Land Gang is a breakaway faction of the Klansman gang that they said was originally ran by Tesha Miller. Tesha Miller himself is in prison at the moment, and I guess Blackman was a top tier soldier of Tesha Miller, and when Tesha went away to do some prison time, Blackman exerted himself and took over the gang. And then when Tesha was released, Tesha bust off the case, came back a road, and Blackman decided that he would not relinquish power. So him and those who were loyal to him split from the gang and formed their faction of the gang, which is the One Dan gang. Long story short, for those who didn't know that's how the story go. Okay, DDT says, well, officer claimed to have a bag of intel for nearly a decade and him keep it a secret. At no point he didn't think it was important to pass all that information on. Good thing he didn't know who he was going to arrest, as the outcome may have been different. I am with the Chief Justice on this one. Don Mel said, I must agree with the Justice Sykes on this witness. Further, hope that this witness is being investigated. The investigators were, in my opinion, correct in keeping him in the dark as far as their investigations are concerned. Why are so many people finding it so hard to keep things clear? Oh Lord, says Sykes, saw right through that one. The JCF needs to investigate this police officer, this cop. The cop who claims that the man been giving him information since 2014. A serious investigation of this cop is warranted. If this is not done when we all have good reasons to consider the JCF as another gang. This revelation is most unbelievable. The commissioner needs to get his act together. Well, I don't necessarily agree with these comments that are being made that I'm reading to you, and here's the reason why. This corporal already said that he relayed all the information to his team leader. Being a person who served in the military, I understand how things go. We have a saying, shit rolls downhill, not uphill, right? So if you as a lower ranking person, if you have a team leader when you gather your information and stuff, it is your duty to relay it to your team leader. It is never your duty to go above your team leader to go find out if your team leader is doing his job. It is his duty to do his job. You did your part, right? The spring and the firing pin in the weapon are two different parts that must play their role specifically in order for the gun to fire, period. So you're a spring, or you're a firing pin, or you're a bolt. You can't be all three. You understand what I'm saying to you? So people are saying that, oh, this corporal needs to be investigated. No, the corporal specifically said, I relayed all this information to my leader. But it was his leader's duty to relay that information to the investigators who were investigating the case. Not true? Anyhow, Macho Loy says, not very smart, or there was a motive. Why conceal info that's relevant to the investigation? And again, he did not conceal the info. He relayed the info to his superiors or his team leader according to his testimony in court. I don't hear the team leader rebuttaling and saying, no, the corporal is lying. He didn't tell me anything. He's probably been collecting information from this informant for since 2014, but he didn't tell me anything like he said he was. I haven't heard that yet. Such be the case, that means the corporal was giving his leader information. The leader was supposed to give that information to the investigators. Mark Walk says, is where this police come from? You mean to tell me, say, you know what was happening in the gang through an informant, and you never passed that information on to your superior? See, people again in this comment section are not listening. The man clearly said he passed it on to his superior. It sounds as though he is the mole in the JCF who's supplying information to the gang. If I were the commissioner of police, I would suspend him with immediate effect and commence investigation into his conduct. It is a bloody shame that he was either lying or very incompetent about the significance of intelligence to policing. He didn't know what was happening regarding the investigation of the gang because superior officers sometimes have to keep information close to their chests because of lack of confidentiality around them. They were operating on a need-to-know basis. At the rate the trial is going, I would not be surprised if they actually get off of the case. Well, at the rate at which this is going, I would not be surprised if they don't kill Ormsby behind bars, aka Mikey. And at the same time, this corporal made it clear that he told his superiors. So if anybody should be investigated, it should be his superiors. Just my take on this. Click the like button, man. Click the thumbs up button. Also, click that bell next to the subscribe button. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We'll be back with more on the Klansman Wanda gang trial. Very interesting story. Very interesting case. Catch you on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.